Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about the card Shelob, Child of Ungoliant. For 4 colorless, 1 black and 1 green, it's a legendary creature, Spider Demon, 8/8 with Death Touch, Ward 2, other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2, and whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with 2, tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life, and it loses all other card types. So this is an incredibly flavorful and quite powerful design, and I'm all for it. To start off, a 6 mana 8/8 Death Touch Ward 2 is way above curve. It's a very solid stat line, and it's quite annoying to remove because of the Ward 2, meaning that it's probably not going to be targeted by removal early game that much. That's quite nice because this is going to be good in the early to mid game. The fact that it acts as a Lord effect of kinds for your spiders by giving them Death Touch and Ward 2 is pretty good. Death Touch is quite common among spiders, and the Ward 2 shouldn't be that relevant because if they've got removal, they're going to be hitting this first. But still, they're both nice bonuses to have on what is already a very good card. But the real meat of this card is in the final ability. Turning creatures that are killed by spiders into foods is not only incredibly flavorful, it's an incredibly powerful effect as well. Any creature with an ETB, die, or static ability suddenly becomes very good with this. Say you kill a Muldrifter with one of your reach spiders, suddenly you're getting to draw 2 cards and then you can sacrifice it later on to gain some life. That's pretty solid. Obviously, your opponents are not really going to attack into you if you have any way of blocking the creatures favorably, because then you're just getting a bunch of free value most of the time. But the interesting thing here to me is that the fact that it gives Death Touch makes it very easy for you to trade with your small spiders, and that also makes, crucially, fight effects very, very good with this commander, because when you're fighting, the Death Touch still applies, and you're going to get a food copy of any creature on the board. So this seems really good with a card like Boxing Ring, which is going to allow you to fight whenever creatures come into play. It also gives you treasure tokens for your trouble, which is very nice to have. It's incredibly good with something like Arachnogenesis or Spider Spawning, which are both already pretty decent cards in Commander. Suddenly giving all those spiders Death Touch means that they're going to be so much better than they already were. There's a bunch of ways to make your creatures fight, such as Citizen Tactics, which is usually not a great card, but would be very good in a deck like this. But other than all of that, it's just really good to have Death Touch on your creatures, both offensively and defensively. It means that your opponents can't really block your spiders because you're going to get copies of whatever your spiders kill. And the fact that these tokens can sacrifice to gain life is not irrelevant, because in a deck like this, you are going to eventually have to leave yourself open by attacking with your spiders. And when it gets to that point, if you manage to pump your spiders pretty high, then you can deal a ton of damage to your opponent and force them to block you, but that is going to generally leave you wide open to a counterattack. Having a bunch of food tokens that you can sacrifice for life can actually go a long way to mitigate that damage. There's also a bunch of new cards in this set that synergize with food, and there's already a lot of synergy for food to start off with. So to be honest, there's a lot of ways you could build this. You could go the fight route, you could go the tribal route and just buff your spiders as much as possible. You could play some cards that synergize with artifacts. Since you're probably going to be making quite a few food tokens, there's just a lot of different and interesting things to do. And the cool thing is that this deck is going to play out very differently every game, I feel, because the fact that you're stealing your opponent's cards guarantees that things are going to be different every game, which means that this deck is going to have a lot of replayability. I think it's really cool, and I think in most cases that ability would be really busted, but the fact that it requires you to go Spider Tribal to take advantage of it does mitigate it a bit, so it's a really good design. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!